Okay. May 24th, 2 Samuel 4 1 through 6:23. When Saul's sons heard that Abner had died at Hebron, he lost heart, and all Israel was troubled. Now Saul's son had two men who were captains of the troops. One's name was Benai, and the other's name was Rechab, the sons of Rimmon of the Beeronite, the children of Benjamin. For Beer was also part of Benjamin, because the Beerites fled from Gittim and have been sojourners there to this day. Jonathan, Saul's son, had a son who was lame at his feet. He was 5 years old when the news about Saul's and Jonathan came from Jezreel, and his nurse took him up and fled. And it happened as she made haste to flee that he fell and became lame. His name was Methabes. Now the sons of Rimmon of the Berite, Rechab and Benath, set out and came at about the heat of the day to the house of Isabeth, who was lying in his bed at noon. And they came there all the way into the house as though to get wheat, and they stabbed him in the stomach. Then Rechab and Benani, his brother, escaped, for they had come into the house. He was lying in his bed in his bedroom. Then they struck him and killed him, beheaded him and took his head, and were all night escaping through the plain. And they brought the head of Isabeth to David at Hebron, and said to the king, Here is the head of Isabeth, the son of Saul, your enemy, who sought your life. And the Lord has avenged the Lord my king this day of Saul and his descendants. But David answered Rechab and Benani, his brethren, the sons of Rimmon the Beerite, and said to them, As the Lord lives, who has redeemed my life from all adversity, when someone told me, saying, Look, Saul is dead, thinking that they have brought me good news, I arrested him and had him executed in Ziklag, the one who thought I would give him reward for his news. How much more when wicked men have killed a righteous man in his own house on his bed? Therefore shall I not now require his blood at your hands and remove you from the earth? So David commanded the young men, and they executed him, cut off their hands and feet, and hanged them by the pool of Hebron. But they took the head of Isabeth and buried it in the tomb of Abner in Hebron. Then all the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and spoke, saying, Indeed, we are bone of your flesh. Also, in time past, when Saul was king over us, you were the one who led Israel out and brought them in. And the Lord said to you, You are my shepherd. You shall shepherd my people Israel and be ruler over Israel. Therefore, all the elders of Israel came to the king at Hebron, and the king David made a covenant with them at Hebron before the Lord. And they anointed David king over Israel. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years. 40 years. In Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months, and in Jerusalem he reigned 33 years over all Israel and Judah. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem against the Jebusites and the inhabitants of the land, who spoke to David, saying, You shall not come in here. But the blind and the lame will repel you, thinking, David cannot come in here. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, that is the city of David. Now David said on that day, Whoever climbs up by the way of the water shaft and defeats the Jebusites, the lame and the blind who are hated by David's soul, he shall be chief and captain. Therefore they say, The blind and the lame shall not come into the house. Then David dwelt in the stronghold and called it the city of David. And David built all around from Milio and inward. So David went on and became great, and the Lord God of hosts was with him. Then Hiram, king of Tyre, sent messengers to David, the cedar trees and the carpenters and masons, and they built David a house. And David knew that the Lord had established him king over Israel, and that he had exalted his kingdom for the sake of his people Israel. And David took more concubines and wives from Jerusalem after he had come to Hebron. Also, more sons and daughters were born to David. Now, these were the names of those who were born to him in Jerusalem: Shemahiah, Shebnab, Nathan, Solomon, Ibar, Elishio, Nigam, Jepiah, Ishlashman, Eldiah, and Eliphalet. Now, when the Philistines heard that they had anointed David king over Israel, all the Philistines went up to search for David. And David heard of it and went down to the stronghold. The Philistines also went and deployed themselves in the valley of Rephaim. So David inquired of the Lord, saying, Shall I go up against the Philistines? Will you deliver them into my hand? And the Lord said to David, Go up, for I will doubtless deliver the Philistines into your hand. So David went to Baal Perez, and David defeated them there. And he said, The Lord has broken through my enemies before me, like a breakthrough of water. Therefore he called the name of the place Baal Perazim, and they left their images there. And David and his men carried them away. Then the Philistines went up once again and deployed themselves in the valley of Rephaim. Therefore David inquired of the Lord. He said, You shall not go up. Circle around behind them and come upon them from the front and from of the mulberry trees. And it shall be when you hear the sound of marching on the tops of the mulberry trees, then you shall advance quickly. For then the Lord will go out before you and strike the camp of the Philistines. And David did so, as the Lord commanded him, and drove back the Philistines from Gibeah as far as Gazar. Again, David gathered all the choice men of Israel, 30,000, and David arose and went with all the people who were with him from Baal, Judah, to bring up from there the ark of God, whose name is called by the name, the Lord of hosts, who dwells between the cherubim. So they set the ark of God on a new cart and brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill. And Urzah and Aho, the sons of Abinadab, drove the new cart. And they brought it out of the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill, accompanying the ark of God. And Aho went before the ark. Then David and all the house of Israel played music before the Lord and on all kinds of instruments, fir wood, on harps, on stringed instruments, and on tambourines and sistrums, and on cymbals. And when they had come to Nachon's threshing floor, Uzzah put out his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen stumbled. Then the anger of the Lord aroused against Uzzah, and God struck him there for his error, and he died there by the ark of God. And David became angry because of the Lord's outbreak against Uzzah, and he called the name of the place Perez Uzzah to this day. David was afraid of the Lord that day and said, How can the ark of the Lord come to me? So David would not move the ark of the Lord with him into the city of David, but David took it aside into the house of Obed Edom the Gittite, and the ark of the Lord remained in the house of Obed Edom the Gittite 3 months. And the Lord blessed Obed Edom and all his household. Now it was told to King David, saying, The Lord has blessed the house of Obed Edom and all that belongs to him because of the ark of God. So David went and brought the ark of God from the house of Odom Edom to the city of David with gladness. And so it was, when those bearing the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, that he sacrificed oxen and fattened sheep. Then David danced before the Lord with all his might, and David was wearing a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. Now the ark of the Lord came to the city of David. Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and whirling before the Lord. So she despised him in her heart. So they brought the ark of the Lord and set it in the place in the midst of the tabernacle that David had erected for it. Then David offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before the Lord. And when David had finished offering burnt offerings and peace offering, he blessed the people in the name of the Lord of hosts. Then he distributed among the people, among the whole multitude of Israel, both women and men, to everyone a loaf of bread, a piece of meat, and a cake of raisins, so that all the people departed, everyone to his house. Then David returned to bless the household, and Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, How glorious was the king of Israel today, uncovering himself today in the eyes of the maids of his servants, as one of the base fellows shamelessly uncovers himself. So David said to Michal, It was before the Lord who chose me instead of your father and all of his house to appoint me ruler over all the people of over all the people of the Lord, over Israel. Therefore, I will play music before the Lord, and I will even be more undignified than this, and will humble in my own sight. For as for the maidservants whom you have spoken, by them I will be held in honor. Therefore, Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children to the day of her death. John 13:31 through 14:14. So when he had gone out, Jesus said, now the Son of Man is glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself and glorify him immediately. Little children, I shall not be with you a little while longer. You shall seek me, and as I said to the Jews, where I am going, you cannot come. So now I say to you, a new commandment I give you, to love one another as I have loved you, that you should also love one another. By this we all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. Simon Peter said to him, Lord, where are you going? Jesus answered, where I'm going you cannot follow me now, but you shall follow me afterward. Peter said to him, Lord, why can I not follow you now? I will lay down my life for your sake. Jesus answered him and said, will you lay down your life for my sake? Most assuredly I say to you, the rooster shall not crow till you have denied me 3 times. Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe in me also. Believe also in me. In my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. And where I am, there you may be also. And where I go, you know, and the way you know. Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going, and how can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. If you had not known me, if you had known me, you you would have known my Father also. And from now on, you know him and have seen him. Philip said to him, Lord, show us the Father, and it is sufficient for us. Jesus said to him, I have been with you so long, and yet you have not known me, Philip. He who has sent me has seen the Father. So how can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak on my own authority, but of the Father who dwells in me does the work. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father in me. Or else believe me for the sake of the works themselves. For most assuredly I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do will also do, he will do also. The greater works and greater works than these he will do, because I go to my Father. And whatever you ask in my name, I will do, that my Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask anything in my name, I will do it. Psalms 119:17 through 32. Gimel. Deal bountifully with your servant, that I may live and keep your word. Open my eyes, that I may see wondrous things from your law. I am a stranger in the earth. Do not hide your commandments from me. My soul breaks with longing for your judgments at all times. You rebuke the proud, the cursed, who stray from your commandments. Remove me from reproach and contempt, for I have kept your testimonies. Princes also sit and speak against me, but your servant meditates on your statutes. Your testimonies are also my delight and my counselors. Deleth, my soul clings to the dust. Receive me according to your word. I have declared my ways, and you answered me. Teach me your statutes. Make me understand the way of your precepts, so that I may meditate on your wonderful works. My soul melts from heaviness. Strengthen me according to your word. Remove me from the way of lying, and grant me your law graciously. I have chosen the way of truth. Your judgments I have laid before me. I cling to your testimonies. O Lord, do not put me to shame. I will run the course of your commandments, for you shall enlarge my heart. Proverbs 15:31 through 32. The ear that hears the rebukes of life will abide among the wise. He who disdains instruction despises his own soul, but he who hates rebuke gets understanding. Okay. See y'all tomorrow.